Hi, my name is Rose Wong. I am the executive advisor at Aim High Accelerator Fund. Today, I am the host of a new YouTube series called Charting the Course: Interviews with Women Mentors. At Aim High, we aim to build a robust pipeline and community for women entrepreneurs. We invest funds to accelerate their ventures, and we elevate those who are beacons of industry. Today, I welcome Pam Garzone.
I started out in pharmacy, progressed to clinical pharmacy as that profession evolved. And then I had the opportunity to combine my love for doing research with helping patients. And so I was able to complete a doctorate program as a clinical scientist, one of the first nationally. It was put on by the University of Pittsburgh. It's just been a fantastic journey because I was able to engage in research and to bring drugs that could really help people through that research path, and in several cases all the way through registration. So able to really witness the impact that innovative medicines make on patients' lives. I have worked on several agents for oncology. One was to increase the platelet count in patients who are given the original older chemotherapy drugs that actually are toxic to the bone marrow. And then an interesting compound that I worked on that gained approval, that I worked on specifically that gained approval in the European countries, was arsenic trioxide, and that was used in a leukemia, and it was able to cure a large percentage of these young people that got, it was called promyelocytic leukemia, or APL. Currently, I am the Chief Development Officer of a company called Anixa Bioscience. I joined because they are about to enter the clinic with two entities that I consider are innovative. One is a vaccine for triple-negative breast cancer. The other is one of these CAR T therapies, but this one is for ovarian cancer, so it's a solid tumor. But I am overseeing those programs. We're at two highly esteemed institutions, the Cleveland Clinic and Moffitt Cancer Center. And I'm working with the teams there to provide my expertise in drug development, but also to be a helpful team member for them, to be able to work with them, to advise them, to review the information and learnings that we gain from those clinical trials. I do. I get excited by the technology. I get to, my work with organizations such as the National Foundation of Cancer Research exposes me to new ideas and new concepts, and to promote those founders for those technologies and for their ideas. And so I do consider myself an entrepreneur. Sometimes, not that I've ever actually started a company, but certainly can advise, to guide, to support, and to do any needs for those technologies, to get them into patients, to evaluate them, and hopefully with some good science and some luck, advance them throughout the development process. One thing that really has stood out for me throughout this is the confidence of that scientist, founder, entrepreneur, their belief in what they're doing, their ability to tell a great story about the inception of their idea and how they pull together all the pieces to make the compelling argument that, yes, this is something that will work, that we can anticipate issues, that we understand the biology, and why it would be a good investment. That, even in the face of perhaps maybe going counter to the current scientific dogma. But I have found that, that confidence and that ability to tell that story goes a long way in the success of that entrepreneur. My opinion is that people that are involved in drug development and bringing these new therapies to patients, we're an optimistic bunch. We are undaunted by the failures and actually learn from them. And I look for that in entrepreneurs too, because you're not going to be necessarily successful your first shot out of the gate. But if you learn, and if you can apply those learnings and advance into maybe another kind of arm of your original thinking, or to be flexible enough to incorporate those learnings, then I think you'll be successful. They are as dedicated, maybe even more so, hard workers, more, they persevere, and they are, committed to the field, to what they're doing, and they do that, with the other responsibilities that they carry sometimes, whether it be family, children, whatever that is. They are diligent and they continue working, and it's very inspiring. They have as many great ideas as not to sound biased, but as the traditional male scientist, and I think that they need to be recognized for that. I think that the society mores of the female gender, that makes us very task oriented, multitask oriented, actually, where you can really focus on doing several things at one time, but also focusing on your area of study, your research, doing the work that's needed to be done to tell that story. Where I think we need some improvement is, one, I think women tend to hold back on stating what their accomplishments are. I think it's not a question of boasting or having an ego. It's really, communicating to others what they've been able to accomplish, to be able to show that confidence. As I mentioned, I always look for that confidence level in that entrepreneur, in that scientist, to convince me that this is the greatest thing to advance. I did it because I felt that I was not familiar with some of the jargon, or I wanted to, think if, I had my own ideas, perhaps, of what I think would be successful, where, how that might be communicated to others. And so I thought that, taking this course would either validate those thoughts or, give me new ones. And actually, it was exciting from the standpoint there were, people in different areas. There were some in tech areas, or like robotics. There were some in software. There were some in fintech. There were some in other types of industries that I had not focused on. So bringing that perspective to this was really, really interesting. I tend, have this tunnel vision only for healthcare, but, when you interact with others in different industries, it's really interesting to see where you have similarities and where you might have differences. But, what that course gave me was different terminologies. I understood the difference between a warrant and a stock option, if you will. I understood some of the vehicles that investors use for financing, whether we're talking about Series A, some strategies, if you want to go into Series A and you want to continue on, what is that initial investment versus if you just want to do Series A and then jump out at whatever exit there is. But that was very valuable to me in understanding those investment vehicles, getting this perspective of different industries compared to healthcare. We talked a lot about lack of investment in women and in women companies. And so we talked about stereotypical perceptions of investors. We did talk about, what it takes to make a good pitch deck and how you need to, what is important for that investor to hear. And it's, and what I've noticed too, which I didn't mention, in some scientists, they go heavy into the science, but you have to think about your audience and who you're talking to. And so you do have to get into the finances. You do have to understand what your IP position is and how strong that is. You do want to understand the different series that you can get and how that money is going to be spent. And so that getting that guidance and that aspect in that course is very helpful to me in working with AIM High and the National Foundation of Cancer Research, because that's what I'm looking for now. I would have tried to start my own company very early on when I had the energy.
I thought that was the answer.
Right. When I had the energy and, boundless determination and very few commitments, if you will, and go that route. I mean, I thought about it off and on throughout the years, but decided for various reasons it wasn't the right time. And so I would have done that. I mean, I look today to see, thinking about, certainly coming into this with the wisdom I've collected over the years, but I wouldn't have any hesitation early on to do that. I would have just moved forward with starting up my own company. And in fact, at the heyday of the tech revolution, I worked with some colleagues. We did have several thoughts about it, but they never came to fruition, which is unfortunate. But had I had that wisdom, I would have continued on and started up those companies.